An investigation is underway after several drones were spotted operating in a no-fly zone as the Ukrainian president arrived in Dublin earlier this week. Gardaí say they will be liaising with the defence forces and international partners as part of the probe. Taoiseach Micheál Martin said that the issue will be discussed at a meeting of the National Security Council later this month.
It was an historic visit and an arrival that seemingly passed off without incident. But it has since emerged that as the Ukrainian president's plane touched down at Dublin Airport on Monday, drones were seen operating in a no-fly zone off the coast of Howth. They were spotted by crew on board the Irish naval vessel Éire William Butler Yeats. At a meeting of the British-Irish Council in Wales today, government figures would not comment specifically on the incident, instead insisting that it was a successful visit.
Our security services and all those involved in the visit did a very good job in ensuring that that visit went smoothly. There's a broader point I'd make, that Ireland is not immune, nor is any part of Europe, from a security point of view to those bad actors in the world.
The British Prime Minister was among those attending today's summit. He met with the Taoiseach on the sidelines. Ukraine was among the issues discussed. The Taoiseach pointing out that increased drone activity across Europe was a concern. On Garda Special Detective Unit is investigating Monday's drone sightings off the Irish coast. As part of that, Gardaí will be liaising with the defence forces and international security partners. Separately this afternoon, Micheál Martin was asked about a statement from the Russian ambassador earlier today. In it, Yuri Filatov criticised Ireland for hosting the Ukrainian president. He also accused Micheál Martin of trying to portray Ukraine as a bulwark of democracy. Today, the Taoiseach insisted that he wouldn't be apologising for Volodymyr Zelenskyy's visit.
The ambassador has a track record at this stage of attacking the Irish government and criticising me on a consistent basis. Again, we're very, very clear the invasion of Ukraine by Russia was a fundamental, brutal violation of the United Nations Charter.
The Taoiseach said recent drone sightings off the coast of Dublin would be discussed at a meeting of Ireland's National Security Council later this month, and that countries across Europe were liaising with each other on suspicious drone activity. Tommy Mescal, RTE News, Wales.
Well, let's get more on this now from our political coverage editor, Joe McGrady, who's at Leinster House. Joe, senior government figures have been briefed about this. We know there's now a Garda investigation, but what more is known about where these drones came from and where they went?
Well, frankly, very little, Sharon, but I have it from two sources tonight that when authorities say that this interaction took place off the coast of Howth, in fact, we're talking about quite a distance from the coast of Howth. I'm told that the William Butler Yeats was in fact stationed at least 10 kilometres out to sea when they encountered these drones. 4 of them in all, I am told. They circulated the ship. The ship did not use its weaponry to engage with these drones, but they did get extensive video footage of them. And that video footage, of course, will be given to the Gardaí as part of this Garda Special Detective Unit investigation that's taking place, and we only heard about that investigation today. Now, another aspect to this is the IAA no-fly zone for drones. That was in effect at the time. That actually extended far out to sea as well. It was a very extensive no-fly zone. There are criminal sanctions if you fly in that zone when drones are banned. But as I say, it extended from the west of Dublin, Leixlip, Lucan, all the way up to close to Balbriggan in the north and close to Bray in the south, and far out into the Irish Sea as well. So all of those things will be looked at as part of the investigation. And as you heard in Tommy's report there, this is going to be discussed by the National Security Council. Now, that's a body that was set up only last March, but it's the highest level security committee in the country now. It has the Taoiseach, the Taoiseach, Ministers for Justice, Defence and Foreign Affairs. It also has senior members of Garda Síochána, senior Defence Force members and Secretaries General of the relevant departments too. So they are going to be considering that in the coming weeks, and of course they'll be looking at this drone issue in the context of many other examples of similar activity that have been taking place in other member states around around Europe in recent weeks and months.
Political coverage editor Joe McGrady, thank you for that.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he's ready to supply uninterrupted fuel to India, despite objections from his US counterpart Donald Trump. Mr. Putin and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks in India today, while in the US, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff was due to meet a Ukrainian delegation in Miami, Florida.
Russian President Vladimir Putin received a guard of honour in Delhi this morning, ahead of his meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The two leaders then signed deals on critical minerals, nuclear energy, shipbuilding, and most significantly, Russia promised to continue to supply India with oil, gas and coal.
Russia is a reliable supplier of energy resources and everything needed for the development of India's energy industry. We are ready to continue ensuring uninterrupted fuel supplies for India's fast-growing economy.
This comes despite US President Trump consistently calling in recent weeks for India to stop buying Russian oil, arguing it was funding Moscow's war in Ukraine. Prime Minister Modi showed no signs of heeding President Trump's warning, despite the US doubling import tariffs on Indian goods from 25% to 50% in August. He insisted that India was not neutral in the war and stood on the side of peace. And Mr. Putin said Russia was working on a peaceful solution to the Ukraine conflict. Last night, he said the latest US peace plan was unchanged from the original 28-point plan, dubbed a Russian wish list, and that following discussions with the Ukrainians, the plan had simply been broken down into smaller parts, as he reiterated his demand for Kyiv to cede the entire territory of the Donbass. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy will need Donald Trump's support to keep that territory. And as 7 Ukrainian children were returned home from Moscow, he thanked all those involved, specifically mentioning the US President and the First Lady Melania Trump, as his Defence Minister Rustem Umerov is due to meet US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff in Miami. But there wasn't much talk of the US or Ukraine at the presidential palace in Delhi, where Indian President Draupadi Murmu hosted a state dinner for her Russian counterpart this evening, before Vladimir Putin departed for Moscow. Fergal Gallagher, RTE News.